Hello and welcome back to the Johnny Gets Cash channel, and to this, the latest episode of my series Chop to the Top, where I'm trading my way up from a cheap car to a supercar. Now in the last episode, you saw me working with a budget of a little bit over £25,000, and I bought something which is, let's be honest, quite modest, this MK3 Mondeo ST TDCi. Now, I'm really pleased with the Mondeo. It was a great buy. It is still for sale, and it will sell shortly. However, I noticed in the comments a lot of people saying, you know, I had a great big budget, just over 25 grand, and I bought something not so expensive. And I hear you. I mean, this is a great car and it was worth buying. But while this is still not sold, I still have a large working budget. I can't tell you exactly what that budget is because I haven't revealed the full costs on the Mondeo yet. But clearly, if I was starting with a budget of over £25,000, buying a MK3 Mondeo and preparing it for sale isn't going to get anywhere near maxing it out. So I've actually been and bought a second car with the remaining budget. And it's a car that's very close to my heart. I love these vehicles. Anyway, let's step outside and I'll show you what it is that I've bought with the budget I have left over. So if you've been a viewer of the channel for a while, you'll already be familiar with this, my 2012 Range Rover Sport Supercharged. Now this is a 5-litre V8, and as I say, it's supercharged, it's 503 horsepower. It's for sale right now, but it's my own car. It's not that saleable, being that it's got that engine in it, but I don't mind that because, as I say, it's my own car and I enjoy driving it. However, when this one came up, I had to buy it. It's exactly the same spec as my own truck. It's a 2012 Autobiography Range Rover Sport. The difference, however, rather than being the 5-litre petrol V8, this is a 3-litre V6 diesel. That makes it a lot more saleable. Now, what I like about this car is, as I say, it's the same spec as my car. It's got a fantastic level of spec on it, but this has got the added option of the rear entertainment pack, which my own car doesn't have. So I like that. It's a really cracking spec. Now, as always, I'm not going to tell you what I paid for this until it's completed and sold, and that'll be in the next episode. This episode is really an add-on to the previous Mondeo episode. This is the second car I bought with that budget. It's a car I don't think I'm going to struggle to sell. As I say, it's got an amazing spec on it, and it's a desirable truck. People like these things. Now, this one has got a few bits that are outside of standard. You'll notice it's got a set of 22-inch alloy wheels on it, and it's got the blackout badge kit. It's got wind deflectors, it's got little bits and pieces, sort of stuff that I probably wouldn't have done to the car, but as it's here and it's on there already, I'm going to keep it as such. This car actually doesn't want for anything, so all I need to do here is give it a thorough clean up. These side steps, they look fine, but typically they are a little bit corroded. The top plates of the side steps do rust on these cars, so it's going to get a new set of side steps fitted, and then it's going to go away for a service. But I'll show you around the car now, and hopefully you'll see why I bought it. It is honestly a really lovely thing. Anyway, let's have a look at it in closer detail. Okay, so to recover what I've just said, this is a 3-litre V6 diesel. Very different animal than my own car. However, let's focus on the Chop to the Top car here. 3-litre diesel, Autobiography spec Range Rover Sport. Now, this has got an amazing interior. I absolutely love the inside of this thing. Now, same as my car, but you may remember from previous videos, mine's got the red and black. This is cream and black, and I actually prefer it, if I'm honest. This is as it's come to me, so of course everything's a little bit dirty, but really it's nothing that a good scrub up won't solve. There's nothing damaged or missing or anything like that. It's just a little bit grubby. You'll see hopefully what I'm saying. I actually love the colour in this interior. It's just so nice. Now clearly, if you've got a job where you're going to be dirty a lot of the time, it might not be for you, but I don't think that's the sort of person who's going to buy this car. I think it's probably going to go to someone who wants to treat it as a bit of a Chelsea tractor. But let's continue to look around and I'll show you a few more details. So these wheels, these are 22-inch. Now, funnily enough, when I was younger and I had my first Range Rover, I wouldn't have anything other than 22s on it. I went out of my way to put 22s on it, but now it's the sort of thing that I'm really not that fussed about. I kind of prefer the slightly smaller 20s that you see on my own supercharger. But as I said just now, these wheels are fitted and I'm not going to change them. They look fine. They actually look pretty good, but they're pretty dirty. So they're going to get a thorough clean up. They're going to stay with the car because I'm sure some people would appreciate them. They do look good. Now the side steps, I mentioned I'm going to change these. The reason being, although they look good when the doors are shut, the problem with these side steps is they rust. You can see just how badly they rust. Now, that's not part of the truck, that's obviously an add-on, so it doesn't matter. I have a new set of side steps already in stock, ready to go on this thing. Small detail, but it needs doing. Inside, as I've mentioned, this has got the autobiography spec, the same as mine, but it's got the added option of the rear headrest monitors and the separate entertainment system, which is a great thing to have, especially if you've got a family. Moving around, there's nothing actually wrong with the outside of this thing. It's got a few additions like the black badge kit and wind deflectors. Mentioned just now, not going to change those. They look fine. If they looked bad or they were flaking, then I would change them, but they look fine, so they're going to stay on there. But something you may notice, next to my car, these are the same shade. Okay, these are both Fuji white, but they probably look different. Certainly on camera they look different, and they actually look different in real life. The reason being, my car has been looked after very well. Even if I do say so myself, the paint is absolutely perfect on it. The diesel that I've just bought, I don't think it's ever really been looked after, so there's almost a bit of a yellowy hue to the paint. That's because there's so much contamination and rubbish stuck in that paint. So that's something I really need to tackle. I need to give it a thorough paint correction, make that look as bright and fresh as Fuji white should. So hopefully you can see what it is that I'm getting at here. I've bought a car that certainly on the surface needs very little doing. A really thorough paint correction and cleanup, new set of side steps, already got those ready to go, and a really good service. Now it has got full service history, but I'd like to put a fresh service on it before I sell it, as I do with all of my cars. So really that's all I have to do to this one. Not a great deal to do, hopefully not a massive amount to spend. Obviously the service isn't going to be for nothing, it never is on these cars, but that's what will help to sell it. Now, as I mentioned inside, this is an add-on to the previous episode where I bought the Mondeo, which of course wasn't very expensive. Of course I haven't told you the price of that or this yet, but everything will be made clear when they both sell in the next episode, as always. So without saying too much more, let's crack on and make this thing look as good as it possibly can before advertising it. Okay, so that is the new side steps now fitted. You can see they're looking really, really smart in gloss black. Now the ones I removed, you probably saw how awful they were. I mean, there's nothing left of them. They just completely rotted out. One side was worse than the other, but this side came off complete. You can see they were well due a change. But what I did notice was, on the side I took off, I thought they were gloss black from the factory, but they've obviously been painted quite amateurish. You can see the runs underneath. So even if they weren't all rotted out, which of course they were, it was worth changing them to some proper factory gloss black ones. So I'm really happy about that. Now, you're probably looking at these, seeing that amount of rust and thinking, oh my God, what kind of state is the underside of the Range Rover in? It's absolutely fine under there. I've given everything a brush down to make sure everything's solid, and it is. And I've put a little bit of protection on there just to make sure it carries on being solid moving forward. The reason these have rotted out so badly is because obviously they're made of cheap metal. They're not really designed to last, I don't think. I imagine they've been on there since the truck was new, and that's 11 years ago now. So it's not a surprise that they've rotted out. So let's not dwell on that. New ones are on there and they're looking absolutely fantastic. I'm really, really pleased with them. The underside of the truck is good. So I've still got a little bit of work to do on this paint work. You saw me clay bar it, but if you look, it's still quite hazy because it hasn't actually been polished yet, and it certainly hasn't been protected. That's going to come later in this video. What I do want to get on with though is this interior. It doesn't look too bad, but I would really, really like to give it a really thorough clean now and make sure it smells as good as it looks. It doesn't smell bad, but I want it to smell really, really fresh in there. So going to get everything cleaned up now and move on to sorting out that interior. So there it is, guys, that is the Rangy finished. As predicted, nice easy turnaround, nice quick one. You saw me doing those side steps, the old ones were absolutely knackered. These new ones, fresh as a daisy, look great and they will last for years. Did a bit of a paint correction on the car. I didn't show you a lot of that because, let's be honest, you've seen me do a paint correction on cars a million times, so you don't need to see that again. But overall, it was a nice easy one. There was no real niggly issues to sort out. Now, there's one thing outstanding on this truck, and that is the service. This is actually going to get sent away to my usual place for a service, and it's having both timing belts done. There's 2 timing belts on this engine, so having both of those done, all tensioners, etc. As I said before, that's going to be quite expensive, but that is what is going to help sell this vehicle, having a fresh, big, major service done on it. So this is about to be sent away tomorrow, actually. So in terms of getting this video out, everything you need to see has been done, and I've shown it on camera here. So I wanted to get this video out now. The service, as I say, is yet to happen. So once this thing comes back from service, it will be advertised for sale. I don't think it will hang around for long. It's a really, really nice item, and I think at this time of year, trucks like this, they're going to be popular, aren't they? So I'll show you inside. That cleaned up really nicely. As I said before, it wasn't exactly bad. It didn't smell or anything, but I wanted it to be super fresh in here, and I think with that steam cleaning, etc., it's really helped to bring it up. It's really, really nice. Now, everything does work, including the rear entertainment system, which can be an issue on these cars, I've heard, but I've tested it all. It works absolutely fine. So that is going to be a real bonus to someone, I'm sure. All the spare and everything, I've checked all that. Everything's good. Genuinely, this is a really, really nice example of the breed, I think. And it's not going to be expensive. I think in today's market, if this hit the market, it's something between £9,000 and £10,500. That would represent really, really great value for a car with lots and lots of spec. I know a lot of people are scared of Range Rovers, but honestly, once you've had a few of them, you get to know them, they're really nothing to be too concerned about. As long as you look after them, they'll look after you, in my experience. Anyway, guys, that is where I'm going to wrap it up for today. This has been the latest episode of Chop to the Top, and this, as I say, was an addition to that last purchase I made. So the Mondeo is still for sale. This will be for sale very, very shortly, and then hopefully when they've both gone, you'll see the next episode where I can count up all the numbers, show you where we're at with the finances, and move on to something else. But anyway, as always, thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.